it's Hannah, and today I have a requested video for you. You may have seen in several of my videos that I've been wearing this bracelet that I made. It's obviously got my name on it. And so yes, you've asked me to make this bracelet, so this is what this tutorial is. I had already previously filmed this, where I showed you how to make this bracelet, but cleverly I deleted all of the footage. Smooth. In this video I am making this bracelet, which is for my sister, and yes, the stitch used in this or for this bracelet is odd count peyote. It's relatively simple to do. This is the first thing I've ever made using odd count peyote, and I managed no problem. Now, I'm not going to go through and show you how to make every single letter of the alphabet, because obviously that would take far too long and nobody has time for that. So what I have done is I've shown you a couple of different ways where you can make your own name bracelet, and you can write your own name and make your own pattern. The first way is to Google for a peyote stitch grid. It's a grid with lots of little squares in it, and you can colour in those squares. I'll pop a link to one where I know where one is. I'll pop a link to it in the description box, so you can just go print it out and fill it in with colouring pencils. One square equals one bead, you'll be fine. The other way is to Google for a peyote alphabet. This means that the alphabet is already made for you, so all you have to do is copy the letters that you want to do. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, everyone's a happy bunny. The third way is using a free computer program called Bead Tools. This is how I make all of my patterns, and once again, like I said, it's free. You've got a free trial, and then you can buy the full version if you want to buy the full version. I just use the free version personally. The only drawbacks with using the free version is you can't save any of your work and you can't screenshot any of your work, so I have to take a picture of it. But I mean, it works, so that's fine. I've recently started watching Pretty Little Liars, and I know I'm late to the game, but they're all on Netflix, so I've caught up quite quickly. But in the first season, they all have bracelets similar to this, so I was inspired to make one, and yeah. That is enough waffling from me. Let's just get on with the tutorial, shall we?
So for this tutorial you are going to need, or I'm using, size 11 Miyuki Delica beads, a bead stopper, a needle, some scissors and some beading thread. I used a full 5-gram tube of the background colour. So I'm just snipping off 2 meters of my beading thread. You don't want to start with it too long. I've stretched it, and then I'm just attaching my bead stopper on the end. You can also use a stopper bead, which is where you sew back through a bead. But yeah, I just have a bead stopper because they are super easy to use. So threading my needle as you'd expect, and I'm going to start off by picking up 13 of my background colour. Lovely stuff. I'm going to slide that down my thread, down to the bead stopper. And then I'm just going to pick up a bead. I'm going to skip that first bead, don't need him, and I'm going to go through that second bead. And it's the first, I think it's the first 2 rows that are the most confusing about peyote, but after that it's really easy, so stick with it. Pick up another bead, skip the next one, and then go through the next one. You just want to wiggle it around so they sit right. Pick up a bead, skip the next one, and go through the next one. You got the gist. We're going to do that all the way to the end. You'll notice that we have a bit of a problem here because, you know, ran out of beads to go through. So I meant to skip this one, but we still need to attach a bead above it. So what you do is you go through that bead, pick up another bead, and go back through that centre bead of the one before, and then down diagonally through the one below it. So then it looks like that. Then you go up through the one directly above the bead you're currently coming out of. Oh, my work's got a life of its own. Oh no. Get with it, Hannah. And then, yes, I'm going through that bead, the center bead, and then the first bead there. Difficult to explain, easier to visualize. Yeah. Then we're going to go back through that bead we've just attached, and then we're ready to start the next row. Ta-da. So now I'm just picking up a bead and then going through the next one. I'm essentially filling in the gaps. So peyote stitch is dead easy to do. And yeah, I'm starting my design. I like to start out with my design because then you see how long it is, and then you know how many beads to add either side depending on your wrist size. So I find it easiest to start out with your word first, to measure that, and then do a bit of maths to work out how many centimeters or inches on each side you need to add. But yeah, pick up a bead, go through the one that's sticking up. Continue. So now we've got to the end of the row, then we are going to pick up a bead and then go through the next one that's sticking up. Pick up a bead, go through the one that's sticking up. So on and so forth, all along this row. When we get to here, I'm going to go through the bead that's sticking up and the bead below it, because you've got to do that little wiggly thing again. I'm going to pick up the bead that I need to attach. I'm going to go through that center bead back towards myself. And go through there. And then the one below it as well. Then I'm going to go back through that bead above it, through the center bead, and then through that bead from the row before, if that makes sense. And I'm going to go back through the bead I just attached and then back to what we were doing before. And I'm essentially going to repeat that until I have completed my design, and then I will be back to show you what the next step is. But in the meantime, I will also show you how to attach more thread, because that is very important, because you're definitely going to run out. So, as you can see, I've got quite far along and I'm running out of thread. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew back through my work, following the pattern of the beads so your thread doesn't stick out and isn't really obvious. Now you want to do this before your thread is too short, because you do want to be able to sew back through your beads, and you're not going to be able to do that if your thread is like an inch long. Snip off. 2 more meters. 2 meters seems to be the magic number for me, but just work with what you feel comfortable with. Don't go for too much, otherwise you get tangled up. Yeah, stretched it as always, and then threading the needle. And then sewing back through the beads again. I'm using the tail end of the thread to sew back through the beads instead of the long end, because then you don't have to pull through the beads quite as much. This makes everyone's life that little bit easier if you use the tail end. Well, not everyone's, mainly your own. Once you think that's good and secure, trim off any excess, or once again, rethread your needle and get back to the usual routine. So this is my sister's bracelet. I know that her wrist is about 16 centimeters long. I know that the clasp takes up 3 centimeters, and this bit is exactly 6 centimeters. So I count how many is between the 6 and the 13, which is 7, and so it's 3.5 centimeters on each side. So I need to keep beading until 9.5 centimeters, and then I can start decreasing. Maths. So now I am ready to start decreasing. You'll notice that I've ended the row on the, not where the beads are on the outside, but where the beads are on the inside, if that makes sense. But I've just sewn through the bead below. I'm going through the 3rd bead down on the row, coming back towards myself on the one directly above it, and then away from myself on the one above that. That is the bead that I wanted to be coming out of. You got to do a bit of wiggling around to get there, but you know you get there. Then you're going to pick up a bead, go through the next one, much like you have been doing for the whole bracelet, but not all the way to the end. You're gonna stop there. Yes. Now we want to be coming out of the bead that we just attached. Yep, that one. So go through the bead directly below the one that you're currently coming out of. It might be a bit of a tight squeeze because it's got quite a lot of thread going through that one, because that's the one we do the wiggling around before. To find it easier, I like to grab a pair of pliers and pull it through. Please be very careful when you do this. I don't want you breaking a bead, not after you've spent such a long time making it. Go through the 3rd bead down on the row that you want to come out of, and then up away from yourself, the one up directly above it, and then towards yourself on that bead that we want to be coming out of. Yes, very nice. And then once again, beading along. This is why it needs to be odd count peyote and not even count peyote, because you want to have a center bead for when you're decreasing, because I've done it on even count peyote and it looks really weird. But yeah, I'm just going to keep decreasing the same way that I have been doing. You know, go through the bead directly below the one you're coming out of, wiggle it around a little bit. It's very repetitive, but worth it. When I say that this is really easy, I mean, it actually is. It looks far more complicated than it is, and it's more time consuming than difficult, I think. Almost at the end of this side. You got to start again on the other side. So I am picking up that final bead. Ta-da, the point is there. Now I need to create a loop. So I'm going to go back through the bead below the one that I was coming out of, and then through one of the beads on the center row. Doesn't matter what direction you're coming out of then. Then I'm going to pick up 5 beads of the background colour, go back through that final bead we just attached. This is so we can attach the clasp. I'm going to go sew back through all 6 beads. Pulling it nice and tight, just for a little extra stability. Then I'm going to sew back through my work to finish off the thread. Once again, making sure to follow the pattern of the beads so you don't have like a random piece of thread in the middle of your beadwork. It doesn't look very nice. So for the other end, this is the tail that we started with. I'm going to sew in that end. And snip off. 2 meters of thread again. You gotta use a lot of thread in making these. It's a lot of sewing. And I want to be coming out of, oh, excuse my phone. I want to be coming out of that end of the bracelet, so sew back through your beadwork using the tail. You know what I mean. I went to a wedding last night, so I'm kind of half asleep, but not hungover, which is delightful. It's also why I sound a bit like an old man who's been smoking for goodness knows how long. Lots of singing. It was good wedding. I managed to keep my heels on for almost 12 hours. I am very impressed with myself. I never wear heels, so 10 out of 10 for me. But yeah, I'm just remeasuring to work out how much longer my bracelet needs to be. What I usually tend to do is find the centre point of the bracelet, fold it in half. I'll fold it down that centre point and then match up each side. But yeah, we're just going to continue in exactly the same way that we have been doing the whole bracelet. And then we are going to decrease the, oh no, you see, this is why you don't keep tools near your beadwork. Goodness sake, woman. There we go. But yeah, then we're going to decrease on this side as well, in exactly the same way that we did before. Both sides need to be symmetrical. Yeah. So I have 6 4mm jump rings there, and I have a toggle clasp as well. You can use any clasp that you like. So I've picked up one jump ring with my pliers. I'm twisting it open using my other pair of pliers, popping it through that loop we created, attaching a jump ring, attaching a jump ring, and then closing it back up, picking up another jump ring, opening it in exactly the same way, twisting it open, and then attaching the toggle end of my clasp. She says, I don't know why I always struggle to attach the toggle end. I think I don't open the jump ring enough for this one, but yeah, we get there, we get there. But like I say, you can use any clasp that you like. If you find toggles a bit challenging, that is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I'm just going to repeat that on the other side, making sure that the jump rings are nice and closed. If you spent 4 hours on a bracelet, you do not want it to fall off and get lost. And there is your bracelet complete. Ta-da! Well done, team. 10 out of 10.
So now you know how easy it is to make one of these bracelets of your very own. They are super easy to make. They're just very time consuming. I'm pretty sure that this bracelet took me about 4 hours to make. So yeah, that's the reason I cut it out quite a lot, because nobody wants to watch a 4-hour video. Also, my nail varnish switch is halfway through, because that's just how I roll. Good at consistency is me. Are you going to make one of these bracelets? If so, what are you going to write on it? I have one that says mermaid. I have one that's got my name on. And then this one's for my sister because she's a vegetarian. So what are you going to write on your bracelet? You could put your favourite sports team. You could have best friends bracelets, so one could have best and one could have friend. So many possibilities. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up. Your support means an awful lot to me, and please feel free to hit subscribe. I post a new video here in the corner of craft every Sunday, and sometimes a bonus one in the week as well. So I would love it if you stuck around and subscribed. It would really mean a lot to me, as I keep saying. If you'd like to know where I bought my beads from for this tutorial, then a link to it will be in the description box below. And yes, along with any other information that I think you might need regarding this tutorial. The reason I'm filming in a slightly different place today is because I'm moving house on Wednesday. So, well, I'm moving house, moving country. So my flat's in this slight state of disarray, and it just looks very empty. If you decide to make something of your very own using one of my tutorials, I would love to see a picture of it, so please feel free to post a picture on social media with the hashtag #TheCornerOfCraft so I can check it out, see it for myself, see how talented you all are. It really means a lot to me. Also, I'm a bit obsessed with a new app that I downloaded called Crafty Amino. I'm sure a lot of you are on it, but yeah, it's a little bit addictive. Go follow me on there as well. Follow me everywhere. Except for in real life, because that would just be really creepy. Thank you once again for watching this video, and I shall see you very soon in my next one. Bye! I posted a picture on Instagram a few days ago stating that I wanted to do another Q&A video, and so this is it. People had questions, so I am answering them. I actually got a Snapchat question as well, so we'll start with the Snapchat question. This Snapchat question is from Random Endeavours, and she asks, do you knit